with who else? Aaron Rodgers. And I know what everyone's thinking. The Packers just coming off that great win against the Lions, 35-17, and in the post-game interviews and the conferences, he was kind of going at the media critics, but this continued. In fact, Aaron Rodgers made his usual appearance on the Pat McAfee show yesterday and continued to slam his critics. Continued to absolutely slam critics, and it obviously came on the heels of several media members absolutely criticizing him and uttering slanderous remarks about him. His former teammate, Jermichael Finley, who he played with in 2008 to 2013, so 5 seasons, was coming out and uttering kind of slanderous remarks. Obviously, there are other members of the media that have made the same types of statements about Aaron Rodgers, and especially about his character, right? And so, to Aaron Rodgers' credit, he has always fulfilled those obligations. He has always fulfilled those commitments to those talk show hosts as well. Again, Pat McAfee is a guy that used to play in the NFL for several years. And to be quite honest, I love when he shows up on Pat McAfee's show and on other people's shows because he's a lot more candid and he's a lot more earnest about what he's feeling. And he opens up. He divulges a lot more information. There's a lot more transparency about Aaron Rodgers that, quite frankly, we're not able to quite elicit the same types of responses or evoke out of those interviews. And I think that in a lot of ways, that's one of the beauties of having these platforms that are hosted by different former athletes, is because with that, now you've got a more safer space, at least on the surface. It appears that way for a lot of these athletes, and they're willing to open up and discuss a lot more. You can have much more intriguing, much more sophisticated conversations. And so I'm going to defend Aaron Rodgers in this regard, because I've been kind of consistent about this, and I know that he just kind of had this latest harangue and diatribe against the media, and he used Pat McAfee's platform to do that. But this is a position that I've maintained and I've shared throughout the entire, not only the offseason, but even heading into the second week against the Detroit Lions, is I always felt like people were completely overreacting to that Packers blowout loss to the Saints, 38-3. And there's no question about it that Aaron Rodgers had a terrible performance. Might have been the worst performance of his career. 15-28, 133 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He was awful. Quite simply, he was awful. And with that being said, it's over. It's done with. You move on to the next thing. And obviously we saw them bounce back to destroy the Lions. And Rodgers was back to his dominant self, 22 of 27, 255 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions. But the thing about Aaron Rodgers, and the thing that is unique about him, is that we don't actually always give him the star treatment that we give others. Because one of the things that we notice with stars across any sport is the built equity that they appear to have with the media and with all members of the viewing audience. You see a guy like LeBron James, who's entering his 19th season. He has a bad game in the regular season. No one's going to really criticize that much. No one's going to criticize LeBron that much in the regular season, because they're going to give him the benefit of the doubt due to his postseason success. This is freaking LeBron James, 4-time MVP, 4-time NBA Finals MVP and champion. So people give him the benefit of the doubt. A guy like Mike Trout. If Mike Trout has a bad bat outing, one game out of 182 games, no one's going to criticize Mike Trout because he's freaking Mike Trout. And this is a guy who's a 3-time AL MVP winner and arguably the greatest baseball player of all time. I don't know if I could quite go there, but people are going to make that argument given his diverse skill set and how talented he is across the board. So a lot of star athletes, they have this built-in equity with the media. And so media members are willing to be a little bit more lenient when it comes to evaluating them. And for whatever reason, Aaron Rodgers hasn't been afforded the same type of treatment from the media. Now, I'm not saying that him getting criticized for his performance wasn't justified. But I also think that when we have people embellish and overreact to a single performance and use that as an opportunity to besmirch his name or his reputation and drag his name through the mud, I can't necessarily defend that either. And so because of that, is it possible that Aaron Rodgers might be a little bit aloof to media members? Sure. Is he not the friendliest to media members? That's probably fair. But at the end of the day, is that a license to absolutely ridicule and disparage the guy? And not just the guy's talents as a football player and questioning his mortality as a football player, but his character. And that's not something that I'm willing to go that far. I'm not willing to say that, oh yeah, because Aaron Rodgers decided to enjoy his offseason, have a relaxed offseason, be distant from the media, not divulge much, that was a direct causal relationship to his poor performance in week one. And those were the huge, grand proclamations and assumptions people were making about him after the first game of the season. Because I guarantee you that narrative would have been different had the tables been turned. Had the Packers blown out the Lions in the opening week, and then maybe week two had a letdown, the narrative would have been entirely different. So, again, we're talking about Aaron Rodgers here. This is a guy who's a 3-time league MVP, a Super Bowl champion. I think that at the very least, not that we can't criticize his performance, I think that's fine, but he should have some built-in equity as far as being judged. And so I totally applaud him for utilizing the platform that he has to defend his name. I don't have any problem with that whatsoever. Completely support him in that regard. And he's got an opportunity to showcase his skill sets once again this Sunday at the San Francisco 49ers. Have kind of been a little bit of his kryptonite. He's 2 for 4 at Levi Stadium throughout his entire career. Yes, he beat them last year, but that was a depleted 49ers roster. In 2019, got blown out twice. So this is a big stage for him on Sunday night. We'll see how he responds, but I hate when everyone kind of embellishes about this particular guy who has a track record of being a huge success in the NFL.